the news tonight. Nigeria leverages the Nigeria-France Business Council to seek support for implementation of African Continental Free Trade Area. Plus, Nasarawa State Police Command confirms safe return of abducted students of Nasarawa State University. Good evening. Glad to have you join us on NTA Kepi News at 7. I am Blessing Mfulani. Now, detail of the news. In the best manner and loudest voice they can, African countries are demanding a new world order in investment, financing and partnerships with willing developed countries, declaring that the continent is ready to build its development with resources and talents in the region. State House correspondent Musbaud Wahab reports that this is the central goal of the Africa Forward Summit 2026 under the theme Africa-France Partnerships for Innovation and Growth.
Jomo Kenyatta, first Kenyan president, dropped some words on the marble. Part of them, and I quote, "Our children may learn about heroes of the past. Our task is to make ourselves architects of the future." End of quote. President Bola Tinubu was at the Kenyatta International Convention Center as Africa took a major step towards the future they want. Many other leaders on the continent also approved of the decision with their presence. 54 countries on the continent with the youngest population in the world, enormous resources and fertile land, world-class entrepreneurs and the required markets, African countries are saying enough of dependency on developed countries for development. Co-organizer President William Ruto, who spoke for the continent, says what Africa requires now is no longer charity, but partnerships and investments in a dignified manner for mutual benefit.
We must confront with honesty and urgency the question of how Africa finances its own transformation. The era in which Africa's development was principally framed through aid, dependency, and unsustainable borrowing must give way to a new paradigm grounded in investment, innovation, domestic resource mobilization, and strategic partnerships built on quality and mutual benefit. What Africa requires today, friends, is not charity, but investments, not extraction, but value creation, not dependency, but mutually beneficial partnerships capable of unlocking shared prosperity.
The demand for Africa representation in the United Nations Security Council has lingered for long, and President Ruto is rooting for this again.
No global governance architecture can credibly claim to be democratic, to be representative, to be just, or fit for purpose, while a substantial part of humanity remains absent from the table where the world's most consequential decisions are made.
With an earlier announcement of a $27 billion investment in the continent at this summit, President Emmanuel Macron is presenting France as a dependable ally, ready for a mutually respectful and beneficial relationship.
So what we need to do is look at the partnership that we want together through a logic of investment. And this is where we see this agenda of prosperity and sovereignty altogether. Getting Africa forward on the economic level means greater sovereignty and autonomy. It's important for Europeans as well.
Like an idea of whose time has come, this registers as a new beginning in the Africa-France partnership. The gains of a renewed relationship are much expected. From Nairobi, Musbao and Wahab, NC News.
And still on presidential visit, Nigeria is leveraging the Nigeria-France Business Council to seek support for the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area for maximum benefit of the agreement. It was at the Council's meeting on the sidelines of the just concluded Africa-France Summit 2026 in Nairobi, Kenya. State House correspondent Musbah Anwahab again reports.
Nigerian investors, including Aliko Dangote, Abdul Samad Rabiu, and their French counterparts, leveraged the Africa-France Summit to again strengthen their partnerships. It was the 10th meeting of the Nigeria-France Business Council. They recognized themselves as the driving force for a sustainable and protective partnerships between the two countries with exchange of investments across. Nigeria currently represents 7% of France's total trade in Africa and leading destination of French foreign direct investment in sub-Saharan Africa. Nigerian Minister of Industry, Trade and Investments, Jumoke Oduwole, said Nigeria is taking steps to lead intra-Africa trade and a more integrated continental market, which she wants the Council to also champion. Chairman of BUA Group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, recommends 3 foundations needed for the transformation of the continent to include capital, policy integration, and value addition has been demonstrated in the Nigerian cement industry.
Value addition so that all the resources that we have here in Africa will be able to add value to them. Instead of exporting everything in their raw form, we process them here, add value, and then export. If you take cocoa, for example, I keep giving this example because it's very interesting. 4 countries in Africa, in fact West Africa, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon, they produce 75% of the total global supply of cocoa. This is a $200 billion industry annually. Yet Africa gets only a fraction, maybe 10, probably 15% of that. So these are the areas that we need, to concentrate on.
The Council also commended the African House in France, initiated by President Emmanuel Macron to deepen trade relations between both countries.
What that does is, if completed, that is a venue where Africans will have the opportunity to dialogue, to connect, to collaborate, and also to build partnerships, across so many different sectors, industry, business, culture, innovation, in France, with the French people. So I think it's an important thing. We welcomed, the idea, and we are going to the African business community. We are going to fully support that project.
The Council proposes one more meeting ahead of the French President's visit to Nigeria, scheduled for October this year. From Nairobi, Musbah Anwahab, NC News.
And the federal government of Nigeria says it is deliberately deepening activities in the non-oil sector to fully maximize and boost the nation's economic and cultural potentials. This is from the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, while receiving the editorial team of a book written on the economic potentials of Nigeria. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Nigeria is not just a giant of Africa for nothing. Its enormous economic potentials and influence across the continent has given it a global recognition. There is a concerted effort by the Renewed Hope administration to document the nation's economic and cultural endowment in a book to aid planning and showcase these potentials to the global community. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says security challenges are being addressed while opening the nation's economic base for national prosperity.
If you look at what the President wants to do in the United Kingdom during the state visit, culture and tourism are an essential part of it. Now, this is a further indication of how much tourism, how much culture, how much documenting this can help to project a nation. We're not just known for oil, we're known for our rich culture, we're known for all the the rich sites that people want to see in this country. And that is why the president is working hard to ensure that security and safety returns to all parts of this country, so that we can deepen people's participation, especially people from the international community.
We have actually come a very long way. When we started this project, we didn't know it was going to elicit the kind of enthusiasm that we have seen, and we have almost come to the end of it. In our last meeting with the Vice President, distinguished Senator Kashim Shettima, he chose a date.
The book, expected to be launched on June 17, will showcase the economic and cultural potentials of the 36 states, and the FCT is being authored by relevant MDAs, including the Nigerian Tourism Development Authority. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullah Higuanara, NTA News.
People's Democratic Party, PDP, on the banner of PDP Survival Movement, says some leaders of the party are twisting the recent Supreme Court judgment to further deepen the divisions within the party. At a media briefing in Abuja on the state of the party, President of the movement, Oko Bartholomew, noted that it has become necessary to address the misconceptions surrounding the suspension of the PDP National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, and the National Legal Advisor, Kamaldeen Ajibade. Yusuf Timothy reports.
And finally, the Supreme Court.
PDP Survival Movement committed to the survival of party and democracy in Nigeria. The movement emphasized that it cannot remain silent while judicial proceedings are twisted for factional propaganda to mislead party faithful through selective interpretation of court processes.
Senator Samuel Anyanwu-led National Working Committee remains the only subsisting court-recognized leadership structure within the PDP. The relevant Federal High Court judgment remains valid and binding. No appellate court has stayed it. No appellate court has vacated it. No competent judicial authority has set it aside. Under constitutional democracy and settled legal principle, a subsisting judgment remains binding until lawfully overturned.
Bartholomew, flanked by other members of the movement, believes that facts must prevail over propaganda, constitutional order must prevail over political manipulation, and the rule of law must remain superior to factional interests. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Talking politics and movement, stay calm until A.A. Sule decide. Now Wadada A.A. Sule decided has visited Chairman Karo local government area to endorse the governor's preferred candidate, Senator Ahmed Ali Wadada, which according to them is most credible. The report. The political movement, formerly known as Stay Calm Until A.A. Sule Decide, has now been changed to Wadada A.A. Sule Decided after official pronouncement by Governor Abdullahi Sule of his preference for Senator Ahmed Ali Wadada as All Progressives Congress APC gubernatorial candidate, a decision the group described as a welcome development. Leading the 13-man committee, comprising of representatives from the 13 local government areas of Nasarawa State, Daniel Afiku Isa, coordinator of the movement, intimated the chairman, Karo local government area, Barrister Abubakar Aliyu Madaki, that the group is pleased with the choice of Wadada and will work tirelessly in collaboration with Algon to ensure Wadada secures the #1 seat in the state.
We will take this project to the nooks and crannies of our communities. We will give them this awareness of this project, and to the glory of God, we shall come out victorious.
Look and cranny of the state, there you go, you see children saying Wadada, Wadada, to tell you that he is generally accepted by the majority of the people within the state.
So at this point, we have no doubt in our mind. We've already made that promise that we are going to support whomsoever that the governor decides.
Wadada is not just a preferred candidate of the governor. He is the man of the people. Wadada is a grassroots politician.
Chairman, Karo local government area, Barrister Abubakar Aliyu Madaki, who appreciates the group's continued support to Governor Abdullahi Sule, says the choice of Wadada is not just a personal decision of the governor, but was done after a series of consultations.
Wadada will be a product that can be easily sold so quickly. And today, we decided to assemble again. And since we've gone for sensitization, he has listened to us. He has gone round and he has decided. We too have also decided to follow him. And that is why we give it a name, Wadada. A.A. Sile has decided.
Now the assignment of the group commences in earnest as each representative from the 13 local government areas is saddled with the responsibility of campaigning and mobilizing people at grassroots to ensure Senator Ahmed Aliyu Wadada emerges as the next governor of Nasarawa State. Blessing Damfulani, NTA News. Away from politics, now other matters. Participants of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, are in Nasarawa State on study tour to bridge the gap between military strategy and community engagement. Aliyu Tijani reports that the team met with Governor Abdullahi Sule as part of engagement for the 2026 Environmental Study Tour.
The theme for this year's tour, promoting community engagement for enhanced national security and prosperity, is the focus for Group 4 of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College. Governor Abdullahi Sule says the state is confronted with pressure due to its proximity to volatile zones, hence his administration's commitment to secure the state through various initiatives. He says the recommendations of the study tour will go a long way in addressing security and environmental challenges in the state.
Because of the solid mineral deposits we have in the state, that is already an attraction for insecurity. And now you can understand the efforts and the commitment we have to put into security in order to actually protect us from those kind of people. So we engage, the vigilantes, the hunters, through the support of the traditional institutions in order to get to where we are.
Our visit forms part of the college's annual Nigerian Environmental Study Tour, which is an important academic exercise that is designed to expose students to the socio-political, economic, and security realities across the country. The exercise is aimed at broadening strategic awareness, strengthening research capacity, and deepening understanding of issues relevant to national security and development.
While in the state, the study group is expected to look into the state's solid minerals and agricultural sector in Lafia. Aliyu Tijani, NTA News.
Still on security, the Nasarawa State Police Command has confirmed the safe return of all the abducted students of Nasarawa State University. In a statement by the Public Relations Officer of the Command, SP Ramlan Nansel, the breakthrough is due to the professionalism, resilience, and unwavering commitment of the operatives. It states that the victims who have been reunited with their families are currently receiving medical attention and necessary support. In the meantime, following sustained intelligence-led operations and coordinated tactical efforts by operatives of the command and sister agencies, 2 suspected kidnappers linked to the incidents have been arrested, while efforts are on to arrest other fleeing members of the syndicate. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police, Shatima Jauro Muhammad, appreciates the support and cooperation of the public, whose timely information and collaboration greatly contributed to the success of the operation. Moving on, the Nasarawa State government says it is poised to build on the successes recorded so far in the task of promoting social cohesion among ethnic groups in the state. Governor Abdullahi Sule said this during an advocacy drive on conflict sensitivity for traditional rulers in the state. Aliyu Tijani reports that the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Martin Luther Agway, is driving the advocacy.
The workshop is organized by a Middle Belt Brain Trust to build harmonious coexistence among ethnic groups in the state, with one of its success stories, the return of peace in Toto and successful reconciliation process. The governor says the workshop is timely as it seeks to solutions to persistent cases of communal attacks, farmer headers crisis, and political gangarism, among others.
Let me join our royal father, the Emir of Lafia, in showing great appreciation to the MDBT, our traditional institutions, the Igbo community, the Bassa community, for the peace that we enjoy today in Bassa, in our total local government.
Chairman of the Middle Belt Brain Trust and the facilitator of the workshop, General Martin Luther Agwai, says there is need to activate crisis prevention mechanisms in communities that will position traditional rulers in checkmating grievances and other issues that might snowball into conflict.
It will help strengthen their ability in understanding how decisions and interventions either reduce tension or unintentionally escalate them.
Chairman of the Nasarawa Traditional Council and the Emir of Lafia, retired Justice Sidi Bagi Mohammed, lauded the competence of General Martin Luther Agwai, led Middle Belt Brain Trust in championing the cause of peace. Nasarawa State Commissioner for Local Government, Community Development and Chieftaincy Affairs, Aminu Muazume Fata, notes the importance of the program in attracting inputs that will contribute to sustain peace across Nasarawa State. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NT News.
And stakeholders have converged on Lafia, the Nasarawa State capital, for the National Brands Development and Made in Nigeria project, organized in collaboration with Nasarawa State Ministry of Water Resources and Rural Development. The stakeholders' engagement featured inauguration of Made in Nigeria project, State Executive Council, and launched the Unified National Program Framework on Made in Nigeria project. Again, Aliu Tijani reports.
The stakeholders meeting is ahead of the 2026 International Water Week in Singapore. The agenda is to reposition Nigeria's water sector for the global stage and domesticating the Made in Nigeria brand across all 774 local government areas. Stakeholders call for institutional synergy, highlighting the state's role as a strategic partner as they emphasize that no meaningful industrialization can take place without a sustainable water system and a commitment to indigenous production.
Made in Nigeria, we establish national brand processing and packaging center in Nasarawa. What we needed from your state government is only the land. So where we can process, package, brand, and then export to the world.
This stakeholders meeting is expected to produce alignment for states to come up with a position for Nigeria to be presented at the upcoming International Water Week in Singapore later this year.
Governor Abdullah Isule says his administration has set a bold target for 100% coverage for water supply by the year 2030, in line with the National Action Plan. He enumerates the state's successes in sanitation as Wamba, Karo, and Kefi local government areas are said to be the next achieve open defecation-free status. Transitioning to economic self-reliance, Governor Sule launches the Unified National Framework for Made in Nigerian project, a flagship of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. The governor, who was decorated as a patron of the project, announces that Nasarawa has already captured the initiative in its 2026 budget. The inauguration of the state coordinators marks a major milestone in localizing the national brand, aimed at enhancing competitiveness and fostering a culture of consuming local-made goods.
The project is designed to promote homegrown industrialization, enhance national competitiveness, and foster economic self-reliance through the production, branding, and consumption of locally made goods and services across the 774 local government areas in the Federation.
With the launch of this framework and the strategic alignment for the upcoming Singapore summit, Nasarawa State continues to position itself as a frontier in both national economic branding and global environmental diplomacy. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NT News.
And rounding off with humanitarian story of nurses. Every year on Florence Nightingale's birthday, the world appreciates nurses who keep the health systems alive. But in Nigeria, the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives say enough with the applause without urgent action to pay safety and working conditions. Uche Ugochukwu tells us more on the day with the theme, Our Nurses, Our Future. Empowered nurses save lives.
Records show that more than 57,000 Nigerian nurses have migrated abroad in the last 5 years, with 16,000 leaving for the UK alone in 2025. The question is, why are they leaving?
What we need is good welfare, good working condition, good environment, good equipment to work with.
Aside the equipment, the shortage is there. Also, it is telling on us because we don't have the ratio of nurses per patient yet as according to World Health Organization standard.
They are the first to arrive and the last to leave a patient's bedside. Yet, they lament they face poor pay, unsafe working conditions, stalled promotions, and the constant threat of insecurity. This year's theme emphasizes empowerment as a key safety strategy to enable nurses do their jobs effectively.
For nurses to maximize their life-saving impact, they must have the authority and the resources to deliver high-quality, person-centered primary care.
They are calling on the government and other stakeholders to act now before the country loses the skilled professionals it needs to make its health system work. As Nigeria's nurses celebrate their day this year, there is growing concern that many will not be here to celebrate it next year. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
And with that report, we conclude our bulletin for tonight. But before we go, a quick reminder of our top stories. We reported to you that Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to leverage the Nigeria-France Business Council for the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. This decision was taken at the end of the African-France Summit 2026 in Nairobi, Kenya. We also reported to you that the Nasarawa State Police Command has confirmed the release of the abducted students of Nasarawa State University, KEFI. And on that note, we come to the end of tonight's news. Do stay tuned for the rest of our programs. Good evening.